Hi gorgeous! In today's video I'm sharing tips and tricks for making your makeup last all day long. I'll be showing you an application demonstration from start to finish with some of my most favorite methods and the reasoning behind them, and I've also included a 10-hour wear test at the end of the video so you can see just how well these methods hold up by the end of the day. So whether you have a special event that you're planning on attending or you just want to do this on an everyday basis, rest assured your makeup will not be sliding off into your lap. Before we get into the video, I want to let you know that there is a tutorial posting today for this eye look, and if you're watching this in the future, I will also have it linked for you below. Before you can begin any makeup, you need to make sure that you have a clean, fresh surface to start from, because if the skin isn't in great condition beforehand, then the products are going to emphasize that, and your makeup will not last as long as it should. So I've already gone ahead and exfoliated. Today I used the number 7 Total Renewal microdermabrasion stuff, and I also applied a toner. This is from Burt's Bees. It's one of my most favorites. I don't exfoliate every single day. I exfoliate about twice a week, but I do always apply a toner. And then you also want to make sure you're applying a moisturizer. And I'm gonna be using this one from Philosophy, a little sample that I'm trying to use up here. This is their Ultimate Miracle Worker. It's pretty good. Applying this all over. You do want to also make sure that your moisturizer has completely set on the face. It shouldn't be sticky or shiny before you apply your makeup products. It should sink in completely. Then it's time to apply a primer. You do want to pay attention to the kind of primer that you're using. What I mean here is that there are 2 different kinds of primers. There are water-based primers and silicone-based primers. Depending on which one you choose, that will dictate which foundation that you're going to use. So if you choose to go with a water-based primer, you want to stick with a water-based foundation. If you choose a silicone-based primer, you want to go with a silicone-based foundation. Why? Because the 2 will not play well together if you mix water with silicone. And if you've ever applied a water-based foundation with a silicone-based primer, you may have noticed some pilling of the product on your skin, and that is why. So how do you know if you're dealing with a silicone-based primer foundation or water-based primer foundation? Look to the ingredient list, and if you notice in the first 3 to 4 ingredients any words that contain cone, then you're dealing with a silicone-based primer or foundation. As an example, dimethicone is a very popular indication that a product is silicone-based. But if you don't see those words in a primer or foundation, then you're dealing with a water-based primer or foundation. Now you'll always see the words aqua in every liquid-based cosmetic product, because aqua, of course, is water. It makes the product more blendable and spreadable across the face. So that's not really an indication as to whether or not a product is silicone-based or water-based. Back to the application. Okay, I'm using the Clinique Super Primer. I think I already mentioned that. I'm going to mention it again. This is a silicone-based primer, and I'm going to apply it sparingly onto the areas where I know I tend to get oily the most, and that's generally sides of my nose, up here on the forehead, and then down here on the chin. I don't use primers that often simply because my skin tends to react to silicone-based primers, and water-based primers don't really work that well on me. For me, I tend to break out if I use silicone too much, so that's why I limit my primer use. And now that the primer has dried on the skin, I am going to go ahead and apply the Givenchy Matissimi Velvet foundation over the top. And again, this is a silicone-based foundation, so it's going to play well with the primer that I've already applied here. It's also really important to use an oil-free foundation for the longest lasting results. And unfortunately, companies lie to us. I know you're not surprised, right? So it's not always easy to tell if a foundation is oil-free just based on what a company is telling you. But if you want to test out whether or not you are dealing with an oil-free product that you have, take a small dollop of it, I'm talking like pea-size amount, put it on a white sheet of paper, doesn't have to be anything fancy, let it sit overnight, and if you notice a ring forming around the product, then you have an oil-based product. But if you don't have a ring forming, then you can be sure that you have an oil-free product. There isn't any one powder that I could recommend using for the best, longest lasting results. It really depends on your own chemistry and how your skin reacts with makeup. So you have to find what works for you. The Givenchy powder works really well for me, so I've stuck with it. But just as a side note here, if you are going to be taking flash photography, you want to avoid powders that contain the ingredient silica, because those will give you flashback in photos. Then you want to apply a setting spray to blend everything together and create one cohesive look. Now, it seems that there is some misinformation going on out there, and we've been fed the wrong information by a lot of these cosmetic companies. What cosmetic companies are labeling as setting sprays are not actually setting sprays, because a setting spray, and I just learned this myself, is what's used to blend the products together so that you can't tell where you applied the foundation and the powder, and you don't have that cake face look after application. It essentially gives you an airbrushed finish. And the best product to describe that type of application is Max Fix Plus. And I feel like Fix Plus gets a bad rep because a lot of people don't understand that is what it's meant to do. It is not meant to lock your makeup in place. It merely blends everything together. So I'm gonna go ahead and spritz that all over my face here. You do want to let the setting spray dry down completely before applying the last product, which will be your fixing spray. Now, fixing spray is the product that locks your makeup in place and keeps it from moving after application. So how do you know if you have a setting spray or a fixing spray? You'll know that you have a fixing spray by looking at the ingredients. If you see alcohol listed in the first 3 to 4 ingredients, you're looking at a fixing spray. And a fixing spray, again, is what locks the makeup in place. But if you don't see any alcohol in the ingredients whatsoever, then you're dealing with a setting spray, which will blend everything together on the skin. Some setting sprays can contain alcohol, but it's a very, very small amount. And if you do see alcohol listed in the ingredients, it will be towards the bottom of the list. So the fixing spray that I'm gonna be using to set everything here today is from Skindinavia, and this is their makeup finishing spray. Don't you wish that these companies would just get together with the makeup industry standards and label it fixing spray or setting spray? Well, until they do, now you know. And I'm gonna apply that. Woo! And then you want to let it dry down completely and you are done. Like I said, I don't do this on an everyday basis because it is way too much for my skin. My skin could not tolerate this many products being piled on top of it. Oh, no. But it's really excellent for heat and humidity. I've used it on many brides in the past. I did it for a beach wedding one time. My poor bride was sweating from the neck down, but her face, it was solid. It didn't move once. So it really does work. And I'll be back shortly to show you just what I mean in the 10-hour wear test. And after wearing these products for 10 hours, this is what my face looked like. No breakdown, no slipping, no sweating, and everything looked just as great as when I had first applied it. So if you're looking for a new application method to try to prolong the life of your makeup, definitely give these steps and tips a shot. What I will say is that it does take some trial and error to find the right primer foundation combination, whether you're going with a water-based one or silicone-based one, to find what works for you. But once you find that match, the results speak for themselves. So at any rate, I hope that you found this helpful today. Please feel free to share your best tips and products for prolonging the life of your makeup below. Would love to hear your choices as well. Also, please subscribe to be notified of new videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.